Hi everybody, Brian Valerio, Vice President in the Proxy Solicitation Group at Alliance Advisors. And now that the 2020 proxy season is winding down, I wanted to take some time over the next few weeks to look back at some of the key developments and trends that we saw during the 2020 proxy season. Over the next few weeks, I plan to take a look at the shareholder proposals, particularly environmental and social proposals. I also want to talk a little bit about engagements and how they played out given the unique landscape of this year's proxy season. But today, what I wanted to talk about was virtual shareholder meetings, because I think this may prove to be one of the lasting impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on corporate governance and proxy solicitation. Essentially, due to the public health concerns, an overwhelming number of companies elected to conduct virtual shareholder meetings this year rather than conducting the in-person meetings that they traditionally have held. And overall, it seemed like these were great success. That this was one of the great success stories of the 2020 proxy season, was the ability to conduct these virtual shareholder meetings in place of the in-person meetings, and to make that change relatively quickly. Many companies ended up making this change after they had already filed their proxy statement. So it was impressive that everybody was able to get on board and to do the necessary steps in order to make that change happen so quickly and have the meetings go off without a hitch. These virtual shareholder meetings, they provided companies with the ability to meet their regulatory requirements while also affording shareholders the ability and the opportunity to directly engage with management and or the board of directors for the issuers. So it definitely was an opportunity to fulfill both of those obligations. They also provided cost savings for many issuers who traditionally have to fly in members of the board of directors or host a large event. They have to rent a space, they have to cater it for a number of people. For many of these companies, the cost savings of doing a virtual shareholder meeting was one of the unexpected and unintended benefits of the 2020 proxy season. It also seems like the institutional investors, some of them had issues or preconceived notions about how these would work and if they would disenfranchise shareholders, but it seems like they ultimately didn't really take issue with the virtual shareholder meetings this year. Or if they did, they didn't manifest those issues in terms of voting. We didn't see any noticeable changes in the voting patterns for the institutional investors for issuers that conducted virtual shareholder meetings this year. We also didn't really hear it come up too much in our engagements between issuers and institutions. There wasn't too much talk about the ability to ensure that shareholders will continue to have the opportunity to engage directly with management at these virtual shareholder meetings. There weren't a ton of concerns that were expressed during these calls about the potential disenfranchisement of shareholders at the virtual shareholder meetings. So it seems like from the institutional investors' perspective, it seemed to work out well for them as well. So with that being said, it seems like this fall is going to be a nice turning point, hopefully, for the virtual shareholder meetings. Is this going to be something that ISS and Glass Lewis are going to want to engage with companies, issuers, as well as their institutional investors about? Or is this going to be something that they're going to provide survey questions to the institutional investors to see if this is something that they are in fact okay with? And if so, is this going to be something that's going to be incorporated into the policies, and we're going to see kind of a different take from ISS and Glass Lewis, or really from Glass Lewis going forward? And is this going to be something that the institutions and the issuers are going to continue to talk about? Is this going to be the subject of conversations during the fall off-season engagement time? Are there going to be more lengthy and robust conversations about what worked and what didn't work, and if there are any concerns? Or is this just going to be the new business as usual? Is this going to be the way that the virtual meetings are the new normal, and that's the way that the majority of meetings are conducted, or a significant portion of meetings are conducted? So these are going to be some interesting things to see how they develop over the next few months and into the next year. And we will keep a close eye out on any policy changes from ISS and Glass Lewis or any of the institutional investors. And if we see any of those policy changes, we'll be sure to alert you guys. Hope everybody's doing well and stay safe.